ladies and gents, it is the prodigious, the prominent professor. I want to talk about money. I want to talk about inequalities. It's important. It's important to all of us. You can be the most optimistic, the most flamboyant. You can have the most cognitive skills going in a job reference. You can be a critical thinker. More of a critical thinker than the people running for office. In any job position you go for in life, you can have all the key skills. You can done have all the courses. You have all the paperwork, but you go and lose a job to someone insufficient in evidence. Apart from they've got wealth on their side. Do you know what I always say? The richest man in the world is not always the healthiest man. The wealthiest man in the world is the healthiest man in the world. The wealthiest man in the world is the healthiest man in the world. The one that looks after the nutrition, their well-being. If you have all the money in the world, you can overindulge in alcoholism, you can overindulge in narcotics, you can overindulge in eating. So you're not looking after your health. You know, and these people with all the money will go and get the next best job, maybe stand as a president. They might be able to stand as a president because they've got loads of money in their pocket, but they're lacking cognitive skills, lacking real life skills that you have every day. You know, people like ourselves, you know, come from the suburban areas in a run-down area because your parents weren't rich at the time. They've got 2 or 3 children when you're born. And it's hard to, you know, provide for your children at a young age. You know, so you see every walk of life going for the same struggle. What you see on the streets today, for food deprivation. Places like Haiti, South Africa, Venezuela. They've got things like water drought. They've got fires in fields in Australia. These really deprived countries that don't get a life chance. I tell you what, it's a worry. You know, I mean, I was talking about Ethiopia and Vietnam, how they get up at 5 in the morning, work till like 11 at night for the harvest season of coffee. That's the main globalisation economic income in their nation, coffee, because they've got so much field. They haven't got any houses. Their houses, what their houses are, our houses are made out of brick and mortar. Their houses are made out of sheds, out of wood. When they've got a massive torrential rain, it comes through the house. They've got newborn babies. They've got husband and wife all living in these little sheltered huts, and they're working 11, 12 hours a day. Some of us, you know, to them, we're rich, like me, you. We're not theoretically even working. Although we're providing like, you know, mental health assistance, doing things, you know, we're all working in different ways. Just speaking sometimes, helping someone's mental health. I do a lot of radio, obviously, you know, I do my cam work. It's all mental health support in such a way. These countries they haven't got Wi-Fi, they ain't got 4G, they're well deprived. They're well deprived. Yet England was send 60 million straight into Beijing. 60 million a year into Beijing. You got places like Vietnam, Ethiopia. They get 1 kilo of coffee beans. Like I said, they get about 30 pence. They get about 30 pence. $50 for a kilo of coffee beans. And over here, when they set it into a barrel, so they can make 60 cups of coffee. 60 cups of coffee. It's you know 80 cups of coffee for a kilo. 80 cups. 80 times 3. 240. It's 240 quid. 80 times 3. £240. Out of that £240, you can buy 480 kilos of coffee beans. Big sacks, like, do you know, like a big potato sack you get in a chip shop? That's how much they can buy out of selling 1 kilo of coffee, you know. And out of that 240 quid, that they send to get more bags. That's 480 kilos. 480 kilos. That's a lot. At that 480 kilos, they make 480 kilos. Share that in half is what they earn in pounds and pence. 240 quid. All that many kilos. One kilo will take how many hours? About three hours. 3 hours to do between a few people. To take a vine of coffee beans off one of them vines is hard work. Believe me, they get blisters. Look at that, I've got a blister. I don't even know what it's from. All I do is type in artwork. I ain't done no artwork for days, so I don't know where that's come from. But imagine them doing that every day. Imagine how blisters they've got in their hands. How sore their hands are. Grafting day in, day out. They do it till they can't walk no more, just to survive. People like us, we don't realise how lucky we are. A lot of us have been through the mill of life, done some of the hardest jobs in the world, but these people don't realise how lucky we are. Anyway, there's two enemies of a person. Two enemies of the people. There's criminals and there's government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the constitution of the second will not become a legalised version of the first. What comes naturally to the heart? Compassion. Naturally to the heart is compassion. I say morals or money as well. We need money to buy produce, groceries, clothes to support your family. That's another thing. And love. Love comes naturally to the human heart. Then hate. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught for love. For love comes naturally to the human heart. Then it's opposite. That's why compassion. Buddhas, when they meditate. They meditate through compassion. But when I say compassion could come in a lot of forms or ways. You can have a compassion where love for the people. You can have compassion for the pain of the strenuous life that someone could be suffering, maybe a loss of family or the deprived of the inequalities throughout the country, the lack of life chances. If you look at the sociological world, you got the upper class people living in the posh end of the world, in flush houses. Then you got the Chinese all living in poverty through debt. A lot of China's capital gain, like the big parts of the government. You got the lowest class people like me and you. They be running off debt through running off credit cards. You see them in England. They all gamble. They all get in gambling shops. They're all betting through their credit card. They thrive off credit cards, Chinese. I mean, I don't know if you're educated the same as me, for your parents. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Don't get a credit card. There's good and bad debt. A good debt is possibly a mortgage. If it's same as renting. It's same as being university credit. You're private renting. You're renting for for cancer or whatever. But if you go work and have your own property, you're paying for a mortgage. In the end, that's your grandchild's future. If you give it to your grandchild at a young age where he doesn't understand or have learnt the life of the influence of money, and they just get it. So you had children late in life and they get the money when you pass away when they're age 20. What's the chances that your kids are going through life torment for life of purgatory wrapped around the wrong people in society, going out like we did when we was young, influenced by alcoholism and whatever else, stupidity. That's what could be the generations to come of your livelihood. But yeah, I just, I'd come for, I know if I could run for, I'm really into my politics, I really am, I know if I could run for supporting inequalities throughout the world a little bit better than what we have, just making a point of view, like the homeless people. There's homeless shelters, there's support out there, there's homeless people that can't get ID. I mean, what institutions are out there to help people get ID when you got no paperwork, you got no place fixed of abode because you live in a shelter. You got no family around you, especially Romanians that come over here. They've got no fixed place of abode. They're from Romania. Their family are in Romania. They haven't got a fixed place of abode when they come over here. They're homeless. They're trying to get some of them trying to seek asylum, aren't they? They come over here trying to seek asylum, trying to get a place of residence in the UK. It's a hard game. You need to know the protocol. Even in citizens' advice don't always give you the right advice because they're not always trained to do so. There's many institutions that need to be able to support these people. In the homeless shelters as well, they need these trained people in these jobs that can help. I mean, I've looked through there is a thing on the website through, I think it's actually on the Universal Credit website for seeking asylum. How do you get a place of abode in the UK? There's all that kind of stuff. You can research it and learn your way. If you're a good reader and good, if you really, if I really wanted to get someone in here, if I really wanted to look through the details, I'll be able to. But I'm too wrapped up in my own doings at the moment before I get into anything like that. But anyway, if I was to support people, I would want to support I've already supported the most deprived people, homelessness, food deprivation, working in the homeless shelter. These are massive organisations, that help out the people with lack of life chances, lack of life chances. You can have all the cognitive skills in the world to try and help and be a balance to normal humanity, such as myself. I'm a nutritionist.